So Pakistan is grappling with a pretty serious poverty crisis. But here's the thing. There's also this really complex two-pronged strategy in place to fight it. And that's what we're going to unpack today. We'll look at the key players, the big government plan, and how it all fits together to tackle this massive challenge.
Okay, but before we dive into the solution, we really have to get a handle on the problem itself. So, what does poverty in Pakistan actually look like right now? Well, the latest numbers, they're pretty sobering.
Here it is, the big headline number from a recent World Bank report. 45%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's nearly half the entire population living below the poverty line. It's a huge number, and it really drives home just how urgent this all is.
But that big number doesn't even tell the whole story. If you look closer, there's another, maybe even more worrying trend. We're not just talking about general poverty. The number of people in extreme poverty has absolutely exploded. It's jumped from just under 5% to over 16%. That's more than a threefold increase. So the crisis isn't just spreading, it's actually getting much, much deeper for the most vulnerable. So yeah, those numbers really set the stage, right? They define the sheer scale of the challenge. With that in mind, let's turn to the organizations that are actually on the front lines trying to fight back.
So, where does the fight back begin? Well, one of the key players on the ground, a real frontline organization, is the Pakistan Poverty Alleviation Fund. You'll hear it called PPAF, and it's been a major force in this area for a long time.
So what exactly is the PPAF? Think of it as a not-for-profit company, but a special one built on a public-private partnership model. And its main weapon in this fight? It's microfinance. We're talking about giving really small loans to the poorest households so they can, say, start a small business, buy some tools, basically create their own path out of poverty.
And that whole public-private thing isn't just a buzzword. You can see it right here in where the money comes from. The PPAF gets its funding from a whole mix of sources. You've got big international players like the World Bank, you've got the government of Pakistan chipping in, and you even have large local corporations and wealthy individuals contributing. It's a real coalition.
And make no mistake, its impact is definitely recognized. In fact, our source material calls it the leading agency for poverty reduction in Pakistan. So we're not talking about some small-time operation here. This is a central pillar in the country's fight against poverty. But it's not the only pillar.
All right, let's zoom out a bit and look at the government's big picture, its master plan. And this is where a different group comes in, the Poverty Alleviation and Social Safety Division, or PASS. This is a much newer player, and you can think of it as the government's high-level strategic command center for this whole effort.
And the key thing to know about the PASS division is just how new it is. It was only set up in 2020. And this was a very deliberate move. The idea was to take what was a pretty fragmented system and bring it all under one roof, creating a single command center for all the government's social safety net programs.
And wow, when you look at what's under its umbrella, you can see just how broad its job is. The PASS division coordinates everything. I mean, from the huge flagship Ehsaas Program down to the Benazir Income Support Program, which gives cash directly to families. And on top of that, it oversees specific programs for education, for healthcare, for supporting the elderly and disabled. It's designed to be this huge, comprehensive social safety net.
Okay, so let's pause. We've got PSAF, the on-the-ground implementer, and we've got the PASS division, the high-level strategist. So how do these two actually connect? This is the really interesting part, where we see how policy and practice are supposed to come together.
So here's a look at the chain of command, basically how it's all structured. At the very top, you have the Cabinet Secretariat. The PASS division reports directly to them. And then, tucked under the PASS division's big umbrella, that's where you find the doers, organizations like PPAF, BISP, and all those other programs we just talked about. So if you take one thing away, it's this relationship right here. It's really strategist versus implementer. The PASS division is the brain, the national strategist. It makes the policies, it oversees the big picture. And then you have the PPAF, which is a key implementer on the ground. It's this specialized nonprofit partner that focuses its expertise on one thing, delivering microfinance. So one team draws up the playbook, and the other team is on the field running a critical play. Okay, so let's bring it all together and look at the road ahead. We've seen the numbers. We know how huge this poverty challenge is. And now we've seen the two-pronged strategy designed to fight it. You've got the high-level policy from the top and the practical implementation on the ground.
So what we're looking at is a really sophisticated, multi-layered strategy. You have government direction paired with these specialized partners. It all looks great on paper, but here's the rub. This well-oiled machine is facing a problem that, according to the latest data, isn't getting smaller. It's actually getting bigger and worse.
And really, that leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? Pakistan has built this impressive machine to fight poverty, combining that top-down policy with bottom-up action. But with the poverty numbers still climbing, the real test isn't about how well designed the machine is, it's about whether it's actually powerful enough to turn this massive tide.